Welcome back. All right, 12 games tonight in the National Hockey League. Very busy evening, so we're not going to waste any time. We're going to jump right in. Columbus Blue Jackets, the Toronto Maple Leafs to open things up. Greaves versus Wall in this matchup. The first period was honestly a really entertaining period and a good first period for Toronto. They were not able to solve Greaves, but they had opportunities. It was also the fastest period of the first 5 games. In fact, it wasn't even close. Toronto just, they motored through that period of hockey. They controlled most of it, but then we go to the second period. And at 3:17, Voronkov, it's in off of his hip. It's a point shot past the screen, and then it goes in off his hip. Voronkov with the goal from Fantilli and Werenski. So we have a 1-0 lead for Columbus. Then at 12 minutes and 1 second, it becomes 2-0. This time it's Fantilli going post and in from the slot on a rush. The assists, Voronkov and Werenski. So those 3 players combine on both of the first 2 goals. But Toronto would answer at 14-12. Dakota Mermis, of all people, he gets a goal, and it wasn't too bad. Point shot past the screen on a face-off win by Tavares. So Tavares gets the assist, and John Tavares is the most valuable player on the Toronto Maple Leafs. He proved it again in the third period as they were down 2-0, and then he kind of put him on his back. He gets the tying goal at 3:33. Cowan and Ekman-Larsson with the assist, and it stays that way up until we get to overtime. The overtime, the Leafs would control early. It was a good overtime. There were some good saves in there by Wall especially, but at 4:21, Columbus would score. Fantilli roofs one on a fast break. Werenski with the assist. It's a 3-2 win for Columbus. Your 3 stars in this one, Fantilli, Tavares, and Voronkov. Shots on net, 12-4 Toronto in the first, 10-8 Columbus in the second, 12-8 Columbus in the third, 4-1 Columbus in the overtime, including the shot that matters. The final shot's 30-29 for the Blue Jackets. Power plays, both teams go 0 for 2. The hits, 27-15 for Toronto. Greaves saves 27 out of 29. Wall saved 27 out of 30. So it was that close. Entertaining game, but I do think that the Toronto Maple Leafs, they're definitely in trouble. They don't look like they're going to make, when we get to the standings, like the numbers are starting to get a little dodgy. All right, next up, Washington and Montreal. There's a goaltending problem in Montreal, isn't there? So Lindgren versus Montembeault in 1 minute in. Face-off win and in. It's the first shot, and of course it's Ovechkin. He gets the goal from Strome. Ovi was going to have himself a night. The Habs did kill off the next power play, and then there was the did Montreal score moment of the game. It's reviewed, and yes, the puck crossed the line. It's a power play marker at 15:47 to tie the game at 1. It's Gallagher from Dobson and Demidov. Ovechkin and Anderson a bit unfriendly towards the end of the period. Each of them get 2 minutes. We would go to the second period, and on a power play that started the period, I think this was with just 2 seconds left in it at 1:58, Frank scores the power play marker, Ovechkin and Strome with the assists, so we have ourselves a 2-1 lead for Washington. They must have enjoyed that because at 3:38 they added to it, and it's Ethan Frank. He puts one through Montgomery, through Montembeault. Yeah, the St. Louis coach was in net for Montreal. Baffling. But yeah, it goes through Montembeault. I put Monty on the board, and I always think of Montgomery when I see Monty. It's Montembeault. Puts it through him, so Dobesh goes in the net. So that's the last time I'll have to mention Montembeault's name. But it's Frank from Protus and Lapierre at 3:38. Montreal would answer at 7:53 Veleno. It's cross-ice pass and in. He gets his first goal of the season. Matheson and Gallagher with the assists. But it becomes a 2-goal lead again at 14:26 on a slap shot from the point. Chychrun gets this one from Carlson. Montreal would fight their way back in less than a minute later. At 15:04, it's Suzuki bearing a rebound from the right circle. Carrier and Bolduc with the assists, but Washington gets it back. At 17:25, Milano rifles one in on a rush. Frank and Sandin with the assists. We have ourselves a, 5-3 lead in favor of Washington after 2. I knew I was going to need an 80s magnet. I knew. Third period, 5:37 in, Matheson makes things interesting. He gets the lead down to 1 goal. He scores on a one-timer from the point. Caulfield and Hudson with the assists. So it makes it 5-4, and it stays that way until on a 2-on-1 rush before the goalie gets pulled. At 16:03, Ovechkin buries one on the rush. Strome with the assist, of course. That makes it 6-4. So you pull the goaltender with 2:40 left. And at 17:56, Ovechkin gets the hat-trick goal. He scores from Carlson. Maybe he's aiming for 1,000 after all. At any rate, then at 18:34, just to add insult to injury, Milano scores from Frank and Lapierre and makes your final score 8-4 in favor of Washington. They've scored 15 goals in 2 games. So I put them in the panic section of the panic index, and then they got 15 goals in 24 hours. You're welcome. 3 stars are Ovechkin, Gallagher, and Frank. Shots on net, 12-6 Montreal in the first, 15-7 Washington in the second, 15-9 Washington in the third. Final shots, 36-28 for the Capitals. Power plays, Washington 2 for 4, Montreal 1 for 3. The hits, 20-19 Montreal. Lindgren saves 24-28 in the victory. Montembeault, 7 saves on 10 shots. Dobesh saved 21 out of 25. There is a goaltending problem in Montreal at this point. It could right itself. We know both of them can play well. But right now, Montreal's, well, we'll talk about it when we get to the standings. All right, next up, the Islanders in Detroit. So, Sorokin versus Gibson in 6:46 in. From the left circle on a turnover rush, Ritchie scores for the second game in a row. He gets a goal from Shabanov. And then at 14:54, it is the fourth liners getting in on it again. Shabanov scores from Cizikas and Ritchie. We have a 2-0 lead for the Islanders. We also have a very quiet crowd in Detroit. It stays 2-0 after 1. Second period at 3:19, Barzal roofs one from the high slot. Cizikas with the assist. It's 3-0, which you can get a smattering of boos in with all the quiet. Then at 5:04, so less than 2 minutes later, Horvat scores from Pulock and Heineman. Then we get a 4-minute power play for the Islanders. That is killed off. Everything gets pushy with 1:29 left. The Islanders come out of that with a power play. We get some pushing then at the horn. We go to the third period. The score is 4-0 in favor of the New York Islanders. And at 6:52, Shabanov goes beast mode on a rush. Fantastic goal by Shabanov. The assist to Cizikas. It's quite the fourth line they got there. And the Islanders end up going 6-1 on this road trip. Absolutely fantastic road trip for them. I think on the power rankings to start things off, I think they were around 24th, 25th before the road trip. Now they're in my top 10, I believe. 5-0 win, so the Dalek magnets on the board for the extermination. 3 stars are Shabanov, Ritchie, and Sorokin. Shots on net, 8-5 Islanders in the first, 15-13 Detroit in the second, 9-5 Detroit in the third. Detroit outshoots the Islanders 29-26. Power plays 0 for 4 for the Islanders, 0 for 1 for Detroit. The hits 23-8 for Detroit. So all the numbers are fine except the score. Sorokin saves all 29 for the shutout, so he's got the Tony the Tiger magnet there because he was great. And Gibson saves 21 out of 26. Gibson's had his struggles since arriving in Detroit. All right, next up, the New Jersey Devils and the Florida Panthers. Allen versus Bobrovsky. They had a nice ceremony before the game for Petrie's 1,000th game. And then at 12:58, Reinhart buries one on a net drive. Forsling with the helper makes it 1-0. And that would be your score after 1. In the second period, with 1 minute and 36 seconds left, the Devils get their second power play of the second period. Then the Devils have a shot at the horn, just after the horn. That leads to some punching, which happens. But yeah, it stays 1-0 for Florida after 2 periods. In the third period, with 9:25 left, Florida gets a power play. I've documented all 3 power plays on this board that happened in this game. The goalie pull happens with 1 minute and 35 seconds left. The Devils call a timeout with 1 minute and 7 seconds left. They had plenty of opportunities in that third period, just couldn't solve Bob. It's a 1-0 shutout victory for Florida, so the chess magnet's on the board because 3 goals or less, and Tony the Tiger's on the board because Bobrovsky was great. Your 3 stars are Bobrovsky, Reinhart, and Forsling. I think Allen gets ripped off in the 3 stars. Honestly, it's a 1-0 shutout. The other goaltender usually gets into the 3 stars. Shots on net, 12-9 New Jersey in the first, 11-7 Florida in the second, 12-4 New Jersey in the third. Final shots, 31-24 for the Devils. Power plays, New Jersey 0 for 2, Florida 0 for 1. The hits, 23-22 New Jersey. Allen saves 23 out of 24. Bobrovsky saves all 31 for the shutout and helps fix the save percentage that got just destroyed in that, even though it was a win in that game against the Vancouver Canucks. All right, moving along. The St. Louis Blues and the Philadelphia Flyers. Yeah, Florida was a split squad. No, Philadelphia Flyers. Hofer versus Vladar in this one, and 5:31 in. St. Louis gets the lead. It is Falk. It's a point shot far corner past a partial screen, which might be a little bit generous to call it a partial screen. I think Vladar just missed it. The assist to Sundqvist and Walker. It stays 1-0 until 12:08. On the power play, St. Louis scores again. It is Falk again from the left circle on a cross-ice pass. Neighbors and Kyrou with the assists. And I made sure I documented that was only the 5th shot St. Louis had. So 2 goals on 5 shots. St. Louis with a 2-0 lead, and they would hold that lead through the first period. Second period, everything gets pushy with 9:23 left. Nothing really comes out of that. And then at 17:57, Abels gets Philadelphia on the board. He scores from Tippett and Zegras with 1:13 left. The Blues get a power play, so that rolls over into the third period with a score 2-1 for the Blues, but the Flyers do finish the kill. And then at 11:49, it's Forster. Forster with a one-timer from the left circle. Andre and Konechny with the assists. We have a 2-2 tie, and eventually we get there. It goes to overtime. The Flyers control early, and eventually they are the ones that get the goal. At 3 minutes and 50 seconds on a 2-on-0 fast break, Sanheim scores the assist to Konechny and Couturier. So a 3-2 overtime win for Philadelphia, making your three stars Vladar, Abels, and Falk. The shots on net, 12-9 Philly in the first, 10-9 St. Louis in the second, 7-5 St. Louis in the third, and 3-2 St. Louis in the overtime, but Philadelphia with the shot that matters. Final shots, 29-28 for the Blues. Power plays, St. Louis 1 for 2, Philadelphia 0 for 2. The hits, 25-24 St. Louis. Hofer saves 25 out of 28. Couldn't blame him on the overtime goal. It was a 2-0. And then Vladar saved 27 out of 29. So after allowing 2 goals on the first 5 shots, the next 24 did not get past him. All right, last game on this board, the Ottawa's on the other board. This is Edmonton and Tampa. I think sometimes there's so many games in my head that it just all kind of just falls out randomly. So it's Pickard versus Vasilevsky, and 1:32 in, the Oilers score. And it's Frederick. I believe this is his second goal of the season from the slot on a turnover. Draisaitl with the assist. It's 1-0 for the Oilers. Nurse had a fight with Douglas. Nurse got the instigator. I don't know why he got it either. They both dropped the gloves at the same time. No idea. I will agree with Louis DeBrusque on this. I'm not sure why there's an instigator there. But at any rate, that power play gets killed off. It's 1-0 in favor of the Oilers after 1. Second period, each team had a power play. I thought Tampa had some of the better opportunities in that period, but it stays 1-0 for the Oilers after 2. In the third, Regula takes a puck to the face. Didn't look fun, so hopefully he's okay. If only there was a cage players wear. Nah. NHLers don't want to do that. And I'm not saying that they'll never bring in a cage in the NHL. It's kind of weird when you have some, and I know the reasons. I get it. So things get punchy on a hold by Pickard. The shots are 8-2 for Tampa with 9 minutes left. I felt like that belonged on the board because there wasn't a lot to write about, and Tampa was really all over Edmonton in that third period. And at 17:28, the logical conclusion happens. Nick Paul scores his first goal in his first game back. The assist to Mosier and Lilligren. Lilleberg. He roofs it short side on a net drive. So that ties the game at 1. And since there's only a couple minutes left, we're going to overtime. The Oilers control early. However, at 1:43 on a rush, Gensel wires one. It's his 6th career overtime goal. He scores this one from Radish and Kucherov. Tampa Bay with the comeback victory. They win 2-1 in overtime. The chess magnets on the board because 3 goals or less in this game. 3 stars, Gensel, Vasilevsky, and Pickard. Not Picard. Man, how tired am I? Anyways, I don't know if I want to answer that. Pickard. I'm going to put it in a different color just because bad hockey guy. Picard. Yeah, Jean-Luc Picard jumped into the net. Shots on net, 11-8 Edmonton in the first. And I know there's people saying who? I'm so old. 11-7 Tampa in the second, 14-4 Tampa in the third, and then 3-2 Edmonton in the overtime. But again, the team with 2 shots in the overtime gets the one that matters. Final shots, 35-25 for Tampa. Power plays, Edmonton 0 for 2, Tampa 0 for 3. The hits, 29-17 for Tampa. Pickard saves 33 out of 35. Vasilevsky 24 out of 25. I spelled it right here and spelled it wrong there. Anyways, all right, let's go to board number 2. Hey, if I don't yell at myself, how am I going to learn? Okay, Seattle and Chicago. So it's Decord versus Knight. There was a late Hawks power play. That's killed off. Pretty even first 20 minutes. Not really a whole lot to report on with that 20 minutes for Seattle and Chicago, just other than it was pretty evenly played from what I saw. Flipping around between the channels. Second period, 43 seconds in. It's a tic-tac-toe play on a rush, and Bertuzzi buries it from the slot. Teravainen and Nazar with the assists. It's a 1-0 lead for Chicago. They would get a power play around the midway mark of the period, and they score on it. At 10:07, it is Teravainen burying a cross-ice pass. The assist to Bertuzzi and Levshinov. Beautiful pass by Bertuzzi, one-handed on his stick. Makes it 2-0 Chicago, and that's your score after 2 periods of play. But some desperate hockey by Seattle in that third period. At 5:08, they get on the board. It's a point shot past the screen tipped in by Cartier. Cartier gets this one from Goudreau and Molgard. Molgard was called up today. It's Fisker Molgard, right? Or anyways, I just put Molgard on the board. I'm good. But then at 7:13, Evans scores, and look who's got the assists: Molgard and Montour. All of a sudden, we have a 2-2 tie, 2 goals in less than 2 minutes, and it kind of quieted the Chicago crowd down a little bit. Now, I do know what the instance of this penalty is. I know Hawks fans are going to talk about it. Bedard felt that he was fouled on what was basically a rush chance, a fast break opportunity, and he got right up in the referee's face about it. The referee didn't appreciate him getting up in his face about it, and so he put him in the box for unsportsmanlike conduct. I think it was because he was so close to the referee, and I understand why. I understand he kind of was sliding in that direction coming off the rush, but then they don't kill the penalty. And I said out loud watching, I'm like, they really need to kill this one, because not just because it's late, but, do that for Bedard. But Seattle wasn't going to be denied. So it's a net feed that's buried with just a couple seconds left in the power play at 17:42. Schwartz gets this one from Montour and Catton. Chicago calls a timeout. They would pull the goaltender to no avail. Seattle wins this one 3-2. It may be one of those ones that leaves a bitter taste in the mouth of Hawks fans, but there's always the next one. 3 stars are Schwartz, Montour, and Bertuzzi. I mean, on the upside, how nice is it, Chicago fans, to be playing games that matter, getting into late November after the last 5 years and how they've gone. Shots on net, 9-7 Seattle in the first, 14-6 Chicago in the second, and then 12-3 in favor of Seattle in the third. Final shots, 27-24 for Seattle. Power plays, the Kraken 1 for 3, the Hawks 1 for 2. The hits, 15-11 Seattle. Decord saves 22 out of 24. Spencer Knight saves 24 out of 27. All right, Rangers, Colorado. Shesterkin versus Wedgwood, and 2:26 in on the power play. Miller goes in off of his skate on a slap pass from Zibanejad. Fox with the assist on that as well. So 1-0 for the Rangers. Everything gets punchy at the Rangers net on a hold by Shesterkin, and things stay 1-0 Rangers till late. At 19:33, so that last minute of the period, McKinnon would score from Natchez and Girard to make it 1-1. So that's your score after the first. Second period at 3:58, Edstrom goes bar down to give the Rangers the lead back at 2-1. Carrick and Schneider with the assists, so there's some depth scoring for the Rangers. Again, late in the period, Colorado answers. On a wraparound, McCarr buries one at 17:15. Natchez and McKinnon with the assists, so we have a 2-2 tie. That would be our score after 2. I was surprised we didn't get more overtime tonight. I was pretty sure this game was destined for overtime. Third period, 2:36 in. On a power play, Nelson goes inside the post glove side via a 3-on-2 rush. Malinsky and Wedgwood with the assists. So there you go. Wedgwood with a power play point. However, the Rangers would get a power play, and they score on theirs as well. They were perfect on the power play tonight. And at 10:18, it's Miller again. It's a point shot tipped in. This time it wasn't off his skate, it was off his stick. And it is Fox and Zibanejad again with the assists. So the Rangers tie the game at 3. It stays that way until McKinnon buries a rebound off the post. McCarr and Natchez with the assists. So now Colorado's got their lead back. With 3:54 left, the Avs get a power play. That gets killed off. The Rangers are able to pull the goaltender. And at 18:35, McCarr hits the empty net from Drury. So the Rangers call a timeout. They would pull the goaltender again. So at 19:47, it's Colton hitting the empty net. It is a 6-3 win for the Avs. The Rangers now kind of struggling a little bit on the road. 3 stars are McKinnon, McCarr, and Natchez. Shots on net, 10-6 Colorado in the first, 14-4 Colorado in the second, and 11-9 Colorado in the third. Final shots, 35-19 for Colorado. So they controlled this game. The score is accurate. Power plays, 2 for 2 for the Rangers, 1 for 6 for Colorado. The hits, 22-17 for the Rangers. Shesterkin saves 29 out of 33. Wedgwood saves 16 out of 19. So Wedgwood wasn't busy. Lower save percentage, but again, the Rangers just weren't able to get enough shots. All right, next up, Vegas and Utah. Schmid versus Vejmelka in that first period. Vegas had the only power play in it. There were 23 hits through that first period. Interestingly enough, the end of the game, there's only 43 hits. So pretty heavy hitting first period. The rest of the game didn't really quite play out that way. So early in the second period, Vegas asserts themselves. At 3:09, Eichel scores from Dorofeev and Theodore. And Eichel's starting to heat up again, so that's bad news for everybody. At 3:28, Hutton would score from Reinhart. So In 19 seconds, it goes from scoreless to 2-0 in favor of Vegas. Utah would answer. At 6:38, Schmidt scores from Cole and Keller, so we got a 2-1 game. And I also wanted to say, and I didn't, so I'm going to read the note now, that everything was all huggy at 6:16. This game had a lot of scrums and a lot of just bad feelings between these teams. Keep an eye on this rivalry and see if that ramps up during the season. But this 2-1 at that point, and then at 16:51, just a beautiful goal on a fast break. Eichel just dekes out Vejmelka and buries it, so he gets the second goal of the period. Bowman and McNabb with the assists. Bowman's kind of come out of nowhere for Vegas, and he's been pretty good. So it's 3-1 for Vegas after 2. 45 seconds into the third period, Vegas scores again. It's a net feed that's tipped in, and it's Bowman getting the goal, the assist to Eichel and Theodore. So rough night for anybody who had to go up against those guys. We had a fight between Colasar and McBain, so that got the crowd going, but that's about all they had to cheer about in that third period. As your final score in this one ends up being 4-1 for the Vegas Golden Knights. Vegas is starting to put things together. 3 stars are Eichel, Bowman, and Theodore. Shots on net, 9-7 Utah in the first, 17-9 Vegas in the second, and then 9-8 Vegas in the third. They outshoot Utah 33-26. Power plays, Vegas 0 for 3, Utah 0 for 2. The hits, 24-19 for Utah. Schmid saves 25 out of 26. Solid start for him. Vejmelka saves 29 out of 33. Utah is definitely video-worthy in terms of their struggling, but I feel like so's Montreal, so I'm kind of torn on which one I want to talk about next. Maybe I'll talk about both. Maybe I'll do a video on both of them in the same day, or put them both on the board together. Who knows? Stay tuned. All right, next up. Dallas and Vancouver. So this is one of those, I always enjoy this game because I'm always okay with whoever wins in most cases. Tonight's no exception. Ottinger versus Lankinen. 55 seconds in, Maverick Bourque, maybe he's heating up. He scores from Hristkovian. So it is 1-0 for Dallas. But at 3:06, Linus Karlsson, he puts it through Ottinger on a turnover, and it was the first shot. So I thought, okay, how's Ottinger going to play tonight? He was okay. But that makes it 1-1. Then at 7:44, Robertson with a wrister from the right circle. That was only the 4th shot on net for Dallas. It goes in. Hintz and Lindell with the assists. But then on a power play, at 14:25, and this goal went back and forth as to who it was credited to. It is credited to Elias Pettersson. He gets the 7th of the year on the power play. He buries a loose puck in the crease. DeBrusk and Hughes with the assists. So it's 2-2 at that point. That's your score after the first period. Second period, there was 1 minute and 20 seconds of 5-on-3 for the Canucks. The Stars do kill that off. I was talking to my friend on the phone tonight, and she's like, we didn't score on that 5-on-3. That's it. We're done. And I was like, no, not necessarily. Ottinger was the reason this was still tied after 2 periods. Ottinger was absolutely fantastic in that period. Third period, everything's pushy on a Lankinen hold. Hronik prevented a Robertson goal on that play, so good on Hronik. But then at 10:47 is Blackwell. He goes glove side on a fast break. Faksa and Beck with the assists there. And then at 18:29, so late, and just as the Canucks are thinking about getting that goaltender pulled, Rantanen with a backhand on a 2-on-1 rush. He beats Lankinen. The assist to Jamie Benn. So that's Benn's first point back this season. The Canucks call a timeout. They would pull the goalie. Doesn't matter. 4-2 is your final in favor of Dallas. 3 stars are Ottinger, Pettersson, and Robertson. So Elias Pettersson continues to have a good run right now. Even though the team he's playing for, not necessarily quite as much. Shots on net, 10-8 Vancouver in the first, 15-6 Vancouver in the second. Both teams had 10 shots in the third. Final shots are 35-24 for Vancouver. Power plays, Dallas 0 for 2, Vancouver 1 for 5. The hits, 24-21 Vancouver. Ottinger saves 33 out of 35, and Lankinen saves 20 out of 24. All right, next up, the Ottawa Senators and the Anaheim Ducks. So it was Ullmark versus Mrazek. It stays scoreless through most of the first period, but Ottawa, really good road period here. And at 16:39, they're rewarded for it. It's a one-timer from the slot pass to screen by Nick Cousins, the assist to Dylan Cousins, as well as Jensen. So it's 1-0 in favor of Ottawa with that rare Cousins combination. The Ducks press to close it out, but it's 1-0 in favor of Ottawa after the first. Second period, just past the halfway mark, Anaheim starts getting it together. At 13:08, Seneca, it's a cross-crease pass and in. Carlson and Gauthier with the assist, so it's tied at 1. And then at 14:34, McTavish gives Anaheim their first lead of the game. He scores from Kreider and Terry. So we have a 2-1 lead in favor of the Ducks. Doesn't last that long. In the last minute at 19:02, Pinto goes 5-hole on a net drive during a power play. The assist to Halliday and Perron. So I believe that's Halliday's first NHL point. Kudos to him for that. It's 2-2 after 2. Third period. I went through most of that third period saying both California games are going overtime. There's no way they don't go to overtime. And then they didn't. One did. Well, one did. One didn't. Batherson. It's a screen point shot that's tipped in. Batherson gets this one at 18:02 from Sanderson and Spence. So Anaheim had to pull the goaltender once they won the resulting faceoff at center ice. They tried. They just could not tie this. Ottawa wins this one 3-2. Now, since the app, last time I looked, hadn't put the 3 stars on the board, I'll give you my 3 stars. I went with Batherson, Ullmark, who made some key saves when needed for Ottawa, and Seneca for Anaheim because he's on a nice hot streak. I thought he had a pretty good game. Shots on net, 10-3 Ottawa in the first, 12-10 Anaheim in the second, 11-5 Anaheim in the third. Final shots are 26-25 in favor of the Ducks. Power plays, 1-for-3 for Ottawa, 0-for-2 for Anaheim. The hits, 27-24 for Ottawa. Ullmark, 24 saves on 26 shots. Mrazek, 22 saves on 25 shots. All right, and last game of the night we're going to talk about is LA and San Jose. A rivalry that is now, it is birthed anew. And this is going to be a fun one. So Forsberg versus Askarov, they had a nice Joe Thornton night. He's just been inducted into the Hall of Fame. Of course, you could talk to him about Macklin Celebrini too, can't you? But at any rate, they did have him in the booth on the ESPN broadcast tonight. At 2:33, Gaudet on a turnover rush makes it 1-0 San Jose. The assist to Dellandrea and Graf. Then San Jose gets a power play, and LA scores on it. It's Armia at 16:04, scores shorthanded. He goes blocker side on a breakaway. Armia's really dangerous shorthanded. This is just the latest example of that. But San Jose gets it back late in the period at 19:50. Dellandrea goes 5-hole. Went off his skate on a net feed. He didn't kick it, so no kicking motion. Goal counts. The assist to Graf and Orlov. So we have a 2-1 lead for the Sharks after one period of play. In the second period, early on, Kopitar goes 5-hole on a fast break at 1:47. Moore and Ceci with the assists. And that gives the LA Kings a 2-2 tie with the San Jose Sharks at that point. The Kings score, but there's an offside challenge, and it comes off the board. Normally, it does come off the board. Then at 17:04, Kurashev, he goes 5-hole. What was with all the 5-hole goals tonight? It's on a good forecheck, too, by the Sharks that lead up to this. Smith and Celebrini with the assists. So, yeah, Celebrini's on the board. San Jose has their lead back at 3-2. Third period, the dislikes ramping up in the third because it's 2 California teams. California teams generally end up hating one another. The ref is told that he sucks. The beat LA chants were louder than the ref you suck chants, but there were definitely some chants going on in both directions. The goalie pull happens with 2 minutes left. At 19:01, they score 6-on-5 to those Kings. Kempe gets the goal from Fiala and Kopitar, ties the game at 3. Of course, we're going to overtime. The overtime, the Sharks control early. Celebrini has a rush chance. That's held. There were a lot of rushes in both directions, but we're going to a shootout. In the shootout, Kurashev gets the winner. San Jose wins this one 4-3 in a shootout over the LA Kings. We'll talk about that when we get to the standings. Your 3 stars are Dellandrea, Kopitar, and Kurashev. Shots on net, 9 apiece in the first, 12-7 LA in the second, 13-6 LA in the third. San Jose had both shots in the overtime, including the shot that matters. No, not the shot that matters. They went to a shootout. Never mind, just ninja dust. I didn't say that. The shots on net, 34-24 for LA. I might be tired. Yes, I might be. Power plays, 0-for-4 for LA, 0-for-3 for San Jose. The hits, 26-12 for San Jose. Forsberg saves 21 out of 24. Askarov, another good game for Askarov, 31 saves on 34 shots. Now let's talk about the standings so I can go to bed. Okay, so the standings have definitely changed a bit. Colorado maintains their lead. They're 14-1-5, 33 points in 20 games. Yes, they're the greatest team in the history of the world. Dallas 13-5-3 with their win tonight, 29 points in 21 games. The Winnipeg Jets 12-7, 24 points in 19 games. And then we get over to the Pacific Division. Anaheim's still in front, but just barely. 13-7-1, 27 points in 21 games. Don't look now. Vegas is in second place. 10-4-6, 26 points in 20 games. Seattle moves up to third, 10-5-5 for 25 points in 20 games. The LA Kings are now the number 1 wild card at 10-6-5, 25 points in 21 games. Chicago drops to the number 2 wildcard spot at 10-6-4, 24 points in 20 games. Just below the line, you got Minnesota, 10-7-4, 24 points in 21 games. Utah, 10-8-3, 23 points in 21 games. Utah's just sliding. They now have the exact same record as San Jose. San Jose, 10-8-3, 23 points in 21 games. Edmonton stays 500, 9-9-5 now, 23 points in 23 games. Vancouver, 2 games below 500, 9-11-2 for 20 points in 22 games. The math is getting dodgy for Vancouver, and we're just in November. St. Louis, 6-9-6 now, 18 points in 21 games. Nashville, 6-10-4, 16 points in 20 games. And, of course, Calgary bringing up the rear, as it said, 6-13-3, 15 points in 22 games to round out the West. In the East, Detroit's still number 1. I don't know for how much longer. I don't think it'll be much longer. 12-8-1, 25 points in 21 games. Tampa Bay's second in the Atlantic, 11-7-2 for 24 points in 20 games. These standings change wildly. Ottawa, now the number 3 seed, 10-6-4, 24 points in 20 games. And Tampa and Ottawa would play in the first round if the playoffs started today. In the Metro, Carolina stays first, 13-5-2, 28 points in 20 games. New Jersey, 13-6-1, 27 points in 20 games. The Islanders are third in the division, 12-7-1, 25 points in 21 games. Good on them. They passed the idle Pittsburgh Penguins. Pittsburgh 10-5-4 in 19 games for 24 points. Washington is now the number 2 wild card, 11-8-2, 24 points in 21 games. What a difference 48 hours makes. Columbus 11-8-2 at the win tonight, 24 points in 21 games. Boston drops out of the playoffs. They came into today second in the division. 24 points in 22 games, a record of 12-10. This is what I was thinking would happen once those other teams played their games in hand. Boston probably fell out. Philadelphia 10-6-3, 23 points in 19 games. Florida 11-8-1, 23 points in 20 games. Montreal, big drop for Montreal, 10-7-3, 23 points in 20 games. It's already been said today, Kent Hughes, he's not doing any kind of panicking. He's not overly concerned. If they don't make it this year, that's okay. So that's where Montreal's at this point. The Rangers 10-10-2, 22 points in 22 games, and it does feel like some of the confidence issues they have at home may be starting to eat into their road game. Toronto 9-9-3, 21 points in 21 games. Toronto now 3 points back of a playoff spot, and I don't know, it's sort of defeatist attitude right now from a lot of the Toronto media, and just the way it's amazing. They're only 3 points back, but yeah. Buffalo, of course, 7-9-4, 18 points in 20 games, still at the bottom of the East, and that rounds out our look at the standings. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, as always. Remember, we are a week away from American Thanksgiving, and that is considered to be this magical line past which most teams that are below the playoff line will not make the playoffs. This year may be very different, though, considering how close the standings are, but who knows? Let me know your thoughts. Hit like and subscribe in the event you may not have done so already. Thank you guys so much for all your support. I feel honored that I get to do this every night for all you fine people on the internet. And thank you guys so much for watching and for supporting the channel. It is greatly appreciated. That being said, I will talk to you again in the morning when I get to preview Friday, Saturday, Sunday hockey, which is busy, but I'll do that in the morning.